Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're new, thank you for being here. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for all of your support. I really appreciate each and every one of you. So today I'm going to do a piece that includes the embroidery hoops. I've got 2 hoops. I'm going to place these on the canvas. I'm going to do some detail within the hoops and some swiping around the outer edge. I've got a really great colour palette. It's a spring inspired colour palette, so I'll take you down so you can have a look at the colours and the consistencies. But don't forget, there's a description box below each video. And if you expand that box, it tells you lots more information about the ratios that I use, the brands of paint that I use, and so much more. So don't forget to check that out. So for now, let's see what we can create. Today I'm using an A2 size canvas. I'm going to have a white background. You can probably see I've painted my sides. I know that sounds silly, it's a white canvas, why would I paint these sides? But it's just to ensure that there's good coverage of paint around the full canvas. I've got my 2 embroidery hoops, so I'm going to place those on the canvas, probably like that, and add some details within those 2 areas there. And this is my colour palette, so I've got a yellow, an orange, a pink and a red. I'm adding a little bit of black, and then obviously I've got my white titanium for my base. So I'm excited for this. You can see I've got my toilet paper ready. This is what I'm going to swipe with. It's just a 3-ply toilet paper. It's dry, it's not damp. So let's go. So today I'm using a white titanium base. So I'm just going to place the paint on the canvas. I'm going to spread out the paint by tilting it from side to side, and I'll also use a palette knife to spread the paint across the full surface area before I start placing my embroidery hoops on the canvas and creating the pattern. I always say with any piece, if you can get your base coat right, then the rest will work well. And what I mean by that is, in this instance, it's about ensuring that there aren't deep puddles of paint in just one area. We want good, consistent coverage. So I'm placing my 2 embroidery hoops onto the canvas, and I'm going to use some black paint to create a really dark ring. And then what I want is for the colours to burst out of that ring across the canvas. That's the idea I've got in my head anyway. So let's see if we can get my idea onto the canvas itself. I'm not adding too much paint. I know that black paint will expand when I start swiping, and I'm just swiping with some toilet paper. What I do is I immerse the toilet paper into the paint and just drag the toilet paper in one direction around the ring, spreading that paint that we've just added to the canvas. My idea behind this piece was to include like a dark ring, a darker colour. I've chosen black. It's actually one of my favourite colours. And then I wanted to use the brighter colours, the spring colours that I associate with spring, so the yellow, the pink, the orange and the red, to burst away from that dark ring. And for me, what that symbolises is the change in season, going from winter to spring. And that's kind of like the concept that I'm going with today. I do really think about my pieces when I create them, and for me they have personal meanings, but I also love to hear what they mean to you. We're all different, we'll all have a completely different understanding or interpretation, and that's one thing that I love about fluid art, about abstract art, that it speaks differently to each and every one of us. And that's what I love to hear. I love to hear what you think. So let me know as we continue this process what you think about this piece. So I've layered the red onto the canvas. I'm adding the orange, and I'm also going to add some yellow. But I think I'm going to just initially add the yellow on the ends, so where the red and the orange start. That's going to be my starter. So let's get this paint down and then we'll continue with the process. I'm just adding some pink, not too much, but just on the tip of the circle just there. So when I swipe it through, some of that pink will be dragged from that center point right to the edges. So I've got enough paint around my rings, and I'm now just going to use the toilet paper. I'm going to use it to swipe, and all I do is I place the toilet paper within the paint and just drag it from the center to the edge. I don't press too hard. What I do is I allow the toilet paper to immerse itself within the paint. It soaks up a little bit of the paint. It's a dry toilet paper, so it will soak up some of that paint, but it's great that it soaks some of it up, because what it does is it helps drag that paint from one area to the edge without almost kind of breaking the swipe as we go. So I'm just going to repeat this process, and then what you'll see shortly is I reduce the width of the toilet paper that I'm using. And the main reason that I reduce the width as I go is to create depth to the piece. So I'm just swiping with one width first, so that the lines are quite wide, and then I will reduce the size. So I'm now reducing the size of the toilet paper, because what I want to do is create different width lines. Again, I'm just going to start with the paint that I've already puddled around the outer ring and drag the toilet paper immersed in the paint to the outer edge. And you can see here that we've reduced the size of the toilet paper. We therefore reduce the width of the lines that we're creating. And I'm just going to repeat that process all the way around that ring. I'm now going to remove the embroidery hoops, just one by one, slowly, by lifting them up from the canvas. They will have connected with the paint, so just do it slowly so the paint gets a chance to pop away from the ring, and then just place them to one side. I really do like that yellow on the two edges, so I'm just adding some more yellow around the ring in different areas just to kind of give that shine. So I'm just literally using my spatula to drop some paint around the ring, and I'm going to use my toilet paper just to swipe out the yellow paint on top, and that's going to give a shine to it. So I'm just folding the toilet paper up into a width that I've used already, and I'm literally placing the toilet paper in the yellow and swiping on top. I'm going to repeat that around the hoop where I've dropped that yellow paint, and that's just going to give that shine. And I think it also gives a good balance by adding that yellow on top last. I'm just using my blowtorch to get rid of any of the air bubbles, and I'm now going to take you in for a closer look at the wet version. I will of course let this dry and then show you the dry version. But there's the darker ring, so it's almost like the transformation from one season to another. That's my concept. And then I've used the lighter colours, the spring colours, to burst away from that darker ring to almost represent the change of season, using those colours and the swipe method. And here's the dry version. So there we go. You know my ideas behind it. I've used those colours. Don't forget, when you expand the description box below, it will show more information about the colours that I've used and the ratios of my paints I do use. So check that out for more information. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure to paint with you, and I hope I get to see you again in the next video. Take care everyone, have a great week, and I'll see you soon. Bye.